To catch up with the 16-time Funny Car champion, John Force, about his expectations about this season. Let's see what he had to say.
Hi, this is Connie Joe Interview with RPMHD, and I am here at the Winternationals with the man himself, John Force. How are you doing today, John?
Well, right now testing's going good. All our cars are top fuel with Brittany with Monster. They're all qualified. One more round to go. Robert Height is second. I think I'm fourth or fifth. Courtney's second or third. She's up at the top. So no complaints here. It's the Winter Nationals. Going to be racing here on Valentine's Day. Don't forget that day to the one you love.
Yes, very, very true. And how has it been transitioning to the Alan Johnson equipment?
Yeah, AJ, I've won 16 championships, 18 as a team owner. AJ, he's right up there in the top with us. You know what I mean? But we're funny cars and he's top fuel. So, he's done it all, and we addressed him. I said, my car's struggling, and Mike Neff and Robert Height spoke with him, and he said, I'll run this top fuel car. Teamed up that he's going to be a consultant with the team, and he also does the same thing for Capco with Steve Torrance. So we got a two-car team. That way we can work off of each other and the technology and engineering. And so at the end of the day, Brian Husen is our crew chief. He's kind of the quarterback. Alan's the coach, and we'll see where it goes from here. But Brittany's really excited in that monster car. They're putting big numbers out there.
Yeah, and how proud are you that your daughters are doing so well?
Well, my girls, when girls went into racing, I thought, well, I don't know how this is going to go, but it's what they wanted since they were 16. After they got through college, they'd come up to the ranks, in Super Comp and A-Fuel and then into the pros. And they're really doing well. I can't complain, but you're always proud of your children, no matter what they do. And, Courtney's going to be fine. She's got a big future. Brittany, she'll be fine. And Courtney with Traxxas, myself with Peak, and Robert Height with Auto Club. We're all Chevrolets, but Ashley will be back. She's going to come back, not yet. Got two grandsons. She stepped out of the seat. She won Indy 2 years in a row. I've never done that. So at the end of the day, we'll see what happens.
That's awesome, John. And what are your expectations for the rest of the season?
Going out there and win. First, I got to get those flowers for my beautiful wife, Lori. When I get that done, so I don't do what I did last year and be on the couch all year. But she's great. She helped me build this operation. She was a real backbone in the early days. Wrote the contracts, mixed the nitro, backed the funny car up, drove the truck, packed the parachutes. A great woman. Educated. She went to San Diego State. But she's the one that's kept this family together because if it would have been left to me, I would have screwed it up.
That's very sweet. And John, what got you into racing in the first place?
Well, I liked football in school, and I had polio as a kid. My right leg was a little smaller. I quarterbacked 3 years in high school, and when I got to college, I realized there was no future for me. I realized that. And my uncle was racing in funny cars and dragsters and said, hey, get a funny car to do the running for you. And I did, and it's been taking care of this old man for a lot of years.
So it's been within the family for pretty much generations.
We're over, four generations. I mean, I've been out here since 66, 67, and that's 40, 45 years. But I love it. Now my kids are here. This is the 50 year of NHRA, a funny car, and I'll be here in the next 50. It's not going to be pretty, but I'll be here. I hope.
Well, you are awesome, John. You are the man, and good luck with your run.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also caught up with funny car drivers Cruz Pentagon and also had a sit down with Tim Wilkerson. Let's see what they had to say about their expectations about this season.
Hi, this is Connie Joe with RPMHD. We are here at the Winternationals with Cruz Pentagon. How are you doing today, Chris?
Doing good this morning. It's a beautiful morning here in sunny Southern California, getting ready for first round.
Yeah, and so you had a little struggle with the car last year. What did you do differently during the Phoenix testing to get it up and running?
Well, we made some changes, try to get better, but when in doing so, we discover things that we didn't account for. Like, main thing we changed on the Snap-on car is we changed the plumbing. We weren't quite getting enough fuel into the engine. It was a high pressure system. So, in opening up the all the fuel lines and all the plumbing, we created an imbalance going into the engine. So subsequently been dropping cylinders, which means too much fuel in the engine, floods a couple cylinders, so you lose power. And so we lost a lot of runs in Phoenix, but the good news is we think we're on the right track. Each run we learned something different, so hopefully, because we need 8 cylinders to compete and run with these guys, and for this car to run to its potential. So that's really been our story here. The first part of 16 is our, struggle with getting the cylinders to light and also get the plumbing right. But I think we're close. Hopefully we're real close.
Yeah, and what have you done specifically as a driver in order to improve your skills for this year?
Well, I'm also the owner and the tuner on the car, so a lot of my time gets spent, really in trying to study the data that we accumulated all last year. So, and I put a little time into my driving. Physical fitness has been one of the things I've worked on this year, and I feel good. A little lighter weight, leaner, meaner. But the main thing is just, you got to have a fast horse. It's like, I never known any jockey to win anything on a donkey. So you have to have a fast horse, which is what I try to focus on.
Cool. And with all these changes that you've made and improvements, what do you feel like is your mindset and expectation going into this season?
Well, our expectation's high. We want to get off to a fast start. We're notorious slow starters. We usually come on towards the end of the season, but we're doing all we can. As an owner, we're definitely spending the money, putting the money into the car and all the equipment. So we have great equipment. We have a good team, and so it's just a matter of working out all the wrinkles and getting our car right. And it's not there yet, but when it gets there, it'll be one of the top cars for sure.
Great. And besides the sport, what other sports do you enjoy watching or going to, or any kind of events?
Oh, I'm a big NFL fan. Love the NFL. The playoffs just ended, the Super Bowl, and I like tennis. Not really into other sports other than I follow a little bit of NASCAR. Some of my friends, I have some friends that are drivers out there, and I like nostalgia car racing. I'm trying to get them to change the name to old school instead of nostalgia. Nostalgia kind of has like a corny sound to it, but we have I have a 77 Trans Am Firebird replica of a 70s funny car that was called the California Charger. So that's something I like to do. I don't have an opportunity with my time restraints to really go out and and run it like I like to, but I enjoy that. So I'm a sick individual. I actually race for a living, and I have a hobby of racing, so I guess I can't get enough of it.
Can't get enough of it, and that's probably why you love and enjoy this sport.
That's right. Yeah, it's it's a great sport. It's I'm result oriented, and so are my teams and my sponsors. So you just have to consume yourself with it. That's really what I've done my whole career. This is my 25th year too, by the way, in pro nitro racing. So it's not always fun. It's a lot of work, but it's gratifying if you can go out there and be one of the top teams, and that's what we strive to do.
Now, what got you into racing in the first place?
Well, my dad was a racer back in the 60s. He retired way before we were young enough. And when I say we, my brothers and I, Tony, as you know, is in the Fox booth with NHRA now as a color analyst. So, it's just something that my dad did. I tell people all the time, had my dad been a pro bowler or a baseball player, that might have been what we followed. But we grew up around this sport, and these cars, how can you not like these cars? You come out here, the sound, the look of them, the smell, the excitement. We just fell in love with them at a young age. So, and I was fortunate to parlay that desire and that love of the cars into a career. So, I'm very fortunate, but we've had a lot of help along the way and some great owners and some great sponsors. So I just love what I do.
Now, Cruz, are you running the March meet?
Yes, we're going to be at the Bakersfield March meet. It's a great event. It's an event that's been around for, I think, 50-some years. It's one of the older events, and it's all the nostalgia cars all over the country. It's a prestigious race, to be a part of and to win, obviously. But yeah, those are 2 races I can go to. I can go to the March meet in March, and the Hot Rod Reunion in Bakersfield, which is in October. So, I don't have a lot of time with racing for a living and everything I do, but I enjoy it. So hey, stay tuned, check it out. It's a great race. It'll be over 30 nitro funny cars running over 250 miles an hour. Great event.
Thank you so much, Cruz.
Thank you.
Hi, it's your girl Stephanie Morin-Chigini coming to you with another RPMHD interview. Right next to me, I have none other than Tim Wilkerson. How are you today?
Oh, pretty good.
That's good. That's good. So, Tim, today you had one of your best runs of the weekend. How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, we struggled a little bit this weekend. I was a little behind the tune-up on Friday, but today it came around pretty good. And it actually hurt the motor on Q3, the first run today, and then we had to change motors. So, and we sat there the whole time after Gary Densham had his little accident where he got wrapped up in the net down there. So we didn't have a lot of turnaround time. So the guys did a great job, and the car came around well, and we went 396. So that was a good. It ended up good.
In the past, you have opted out of doing testing before your races. What made you decide to do it different this year and actually do testing?
Well, the first thing, we have a new crew member, and if I probably would have had the same guys I had last year, I probably wouldn't have done it because it's mostly just some repetitious activities for them, you know. But with a new guy, I thought, well, it'll be a good practice for him. And then I actually had a guy, Brian Hogue, who runs an alcohol car. He was wanting to get a license, so that kind of worked out for us too. We let him drive it for one day, and that really worked out well for the crew. Didn't work out so good for me in the car, but he did well, and we finally got him down the racetrack on Saturday. But funding wise, we usually don't do testing. You're absolutely right. We just try to keep our junk in a pile and try to do the best we can on race day. And Saturday's usually my test day.
So after your crew gets all used to doing the basics, you're gonna go back to just not testing anymore. You're gonna do just the days of.
Probably will not test anymore this year. Now we do have a new car coming, and I'm going to debut that car in Gainesville with any luck. I haven't had a new car since 2008, so we're very excited about getting a new car. This car that I have is, I don't know how many hundreds of runs it has on it, but it's showing signs of having problems. So we're excited to have a new car. I haven't decided whether we're going to just debut the car cold turkey and hope that it runs well, or if we're just going to stay there after Gainesville and test. So that may be the only other time we test this year, but yeah, that's unfortunately financially it's just not always in our cards to test.
So is your new car the same type of design?
No, it's completely different. Murph McKinney, who's built cars for everyone out here for the last 30 or 40 years, now Force and Schumacher both build their own cars. So Murph's business is a little bit backwards because of that. And I almost bought a John Force car, but I decided not to at the last minute, and I just let Murph loose. I told him, you do whatever you want to do, as queer as you want to make it, as different as you want to make it, you just have a ball. So I'm excited to see how it's going to end up because it's something he's never done before.
Awesome. So if you could go anywhere with your new car or your old car, where would you travel with it and why?
Well, I mean, we really been doing this for a long time. So I really don't get too wound up about any specific racetrack. You know what I mean? I've only not won at a few racetracks, and that's kind of a goal that we have before I want to quit. We've won 20 times, so but I'm hoping that the new car will give us the next step up because everybody else has the same type of car. But really, I have no specific place that I'd take it. I'm happy to get it, and if Gainesville's the first race, then so be it.
Awesome. Well, this has been another RPMHD interview we have right here. Tim Wilkerson, and we thank you for your time.
Yep.
It is the second day of the 2016 Winternationals in Pomona, California. All right, we'll see you later.
Hi, this is Connie Joe with RPMHD. We are here at the Winternationals with Gary Densham. Now, Gary, you had quite an experience yesterday on the track. Tell us a little bit about that and what your mindset was going through that crash.
Well, the thing is it's nobody's fault. It's just things happen. You try and make stuff better, and sometimes it doesn't work exactly like you want. And, long story short is the parachute wires didn't come out of the parachutes, and the parachutes didn't open. It's one of the shorter racetracks we have. That's no excuse. It's a wonderful place to race at. And, ended up in the sand trap, ended up in the net a lot harder than you'd like to, and, it kind of ruined everything.
Now, what was your mindset when you knew that the mechanical failures were going on? What was going through your mind at that time?
Well, at the time, you're hoping that the sand's going to slow you down enough that it's not going to destroy the car and we could still race today, was the plan. Yeah. But when it skipped over the top of the sand and sailed into the net, kind of figured that deal was over with.
Yeah, so what are you guys doing to the car now that will maybe improve the technical difficulties next time?
Well, like I say, no problem. Our cars are so safe and so good, and the safety safari does such a dynamite job that, I don't know how you could really improve on something. This was just a bit of bad luck, and you'd like to say, that somebody made a mistake, but I don't think so. It was just, it was like kind of winning the lottery in reverse.
What got you into drag racing?
I was dropped on my head as a very small child. I never quite recovered. No, I grew up in that era in the 60s where, all the muscle cars were out there and everybody, wanted a fast car, and it was pretty simple. You played football on Friday night, you went to the drags on Saturday night, and you wanted to have the fastest car in school, and a lot of my friends, their parents had a lot of money, and so they got the brand new, Corvettes and GTOs and 409s and all that sort of stuff, and I didn't, so I had to learn how to build something I could beat them with. And so then you end up with the fastest car in school and the fastest car in town, and then you took it to the drags and found out it wasn't near as fast as you thought it was, so you better build something faster.
Very awesome. What do you like to do besides drag racing?
Well, I haven't figured that out yet.
You haven't figured it out yet?
No. I mean, my wife and I, we love to travel, and that comes with drag racing. That's how I learned that I like to travel, is because we've had such great opportunities to, travel the country, travel the world. We've raced in Australia 17 times, and, been to New Zealand, raced in Alaska, raced in Hawaii, and it kind of got in our blood a little bit. And since I don't get to race full time anymore, we've got to travel a little more, and that's great. But it still comes back to the fans and the people out here are just so unbelievably, wonderful to be around that you'd hate to have to give this up.
And what do you think your expectations and your mindset for the rest of the season is?
Well, it's like everything else. You play it one day, 1 minute at a time, and you keep working at it, and it'd be a horrible way to have to quit. The total finances of everything out here is getting to a point where, an independent like ourselves really has a hard time competing. But, we did it again this weekend. We came out here, we made 3 really good runs. We outrun some of the high dollar cars with the major sponsors that race all year long and kind of show that we can still be a pain in their side. Ultimately, to compete with the Forces and Schumachers and Colettas and stuff, on a run-to-run basis, you can't. You stand there, they're going to beat you to death. It's that simple. They're going to drop $100 bills on you until you collapse. It's that simple. But it's just kind of nice to come out and be able to compete. And like I say, the fans are the reason you come. The people are just so great out here, and they're with you when you're on top. They're with you when you got problems. What else can you ask for?
Well, thank you so much. I hope you guys can get the car back up and running and see you at the next event.
It's going to be really sad today to watch somebody have a single that I wanted to whoop.
What's your preference between a modern-day funny car and a nostalgia funny car?
Well, the modern-day funny car is absolutely awesome. 10,000 horsepower, 320 miles an hour, and 1,000 feet. What can you ask for? But the bottom line is the old nostalgia cars sure got a flair, and they're spectacular, and they're fun. So who knows?
And will we see you at the March meet?
Oh, you better believe it.
Huge win here today, and tell us about this. Obviously, emotions run high for you racing here in pretty much your home track.
Yeah, a lot of family. My mom's 70th birthday was this week, so my wife's been working on for 3 months a surprise party for her at somebody's house about a mile from here. So we did that last night. It was just a lot of extra stuff going on, which Pomona always brings. But to kick the race off, knowing it was going to be on FS1 and the Fox Sports channel, it's just so much excitement. I think if you talk to anybody, no matter what class it was, there was just this excitement in the air about a change in our sport that was bigger than we've ever had, and they lived up to it. It was great. It's neat to do an interview and to hear the echo, and there's no longer PA talking to you or whoever it is down at the other end and separately talking to TV. I was doing the interview in the semifinals, and I could hear the crowd and hear the echo as they played it live, and whatever delay that was. And it's weird, but it's the way it should be. And it's been a long time coming, but Peter Clifford, everybody in NHRA, it lived up to the hype. And what better way than to be the funny car driver that got to get up there and get all that TV time. That was cool. I got the best team in the business, and they gave me a great race car. There's no whole shot win without the car that we had, and in all honesty, I rolled it in a little more, so those numbers are skewed as far as reaction time. So nothing taken away from Dale. He brings every bit out in me for sure as a racer. He's a good friend and returning champion. So all that together made it bigger than a final round. I mean, that was big. And so if I can get a win any way we can do it, I don't want it to be overblown that it was a hole shot, because it was just those numbers are a little weird.
Well, it seemed like your car really ran consistently today, had a couple of stumbles early in the day like everybody did, but there really was kind of that turnaround run during qualifying where Ron seemed to get a grip on the racetrack. He struggled a little early, but that seemed to be the moment that this team really kind of came to life this weekend.
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were the only car to go all 3 second runs, all 4 runs in qualifying. Even though one was a 399, we had the belt come off in 2 of those, the 399 and I think the 397. So all 4 runs in the 3s. I don't think anybody did that this weekend. So I was quietly looking at that. I knew we had a good race car. Tobler and I have grown so much together. And it's like a marriage. And he really teaches me a lot on race day, even as long as I've been around driving. And it's invigorating to wake up in the morning and know I got a guy that is a racer like that. So we had a heck of a day. I mean, look, the people we had to race was crazy. Robert Height in the semis was like a final round, racing those guys. It's just great weather. And the grandstands being as full, it was sort of weird because this weekend's been a little bit off, you know, as far as the grandstands. It's Southern Cal, and there's a lot to do. But to come around the corner on a Sunday, and it's Valentine's Day, and the grandstands were packed. So there was either a lot of women that came out, or a lot of single dudes came out today and just filled the grandstands up. But it was full, and there were a lot of women out. So I mean, kudos to guys bringing their wives and girlfriends out, and more so for all the women that came out with their significant others on Valentine's Day to spend the day at the drag races is pretty cool, and that teaches you a lot about relationship for sure. But what a great day. Bob Gant from Napa's in the house. He's going to retire this year, but he's been with Napa over 42 years, and he is the reason that this Napa car is in drag racing. And so we're glad to be able to share this winter circle with him.
Hey, when did you find out about Chase?
We were watching Fox Sports earlier today. Not to drop a name, but it was on Fox Sports. Fox Network. And Paul Mecca, who handles our sponsor relations, came over and said, guess what, Chase in the 24 car, Jeff Gordon's, got the pole. I mean, what a story. So I'm like, oh man, I was going to tweet him and say, way to put the pressure on, man. But I didn't want to jinx ourselves. So as we kept going further in the day, I thought, man, how cool would it be to be able to have the Napa guys have the pole at the Daytona race, and then here win in Pomona at the other end of the country on Fox Sports 1.
How do you spell it?
And you can watch it on replay tomorrow, Ron.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Oh, there you go.
you had a couple mechanical problems, but you were pretty confident going into today's eliminations, weren't you?
Oh my God! Don't trust me. If I look confident, you can't be. I mean, you're confident, but you have all I like to think about first round. And I've been doing it a long time. And I bet if you ask Dale Worsham, who just won a championship here 3 months ago, he'll tell you the same thing. I talked to him before that day, and he was a wreck. But you need to be sort of in that wreck mode. One of my favorite football players, Joe Montana, all those Super Bowls. I got to ask him one time, how was it? And he was throwing up every morning. He was a wreck, and he went out and MVP style play of all those games. So I think that just kind of proves if you stop getting that feeling, then you need to get out of the seat. And it may look like I was okay on the outside, but you ask any driver, and we definitely we feel the pressure. There's a lot of pressure when you're given a great car like I have with the Napa guys, that you're the last piece of that puzzle. So it's sort of like, hey, everything's good, here you go. Do not mess it up. And so it's nice when you don't mess it up.
Additional questions for Ron Capps?
Is your mom here?
Oh yeah, I grew up in San Luis Obispo. She's been here. She's been here all week. We surprised her last night. There was about 75 people that showed up. A lot of them from out of town. A lot she hadn't seen in a long time. It was special. It was cool. And she drove a dragster when I was a kid. She drove a front motor dragster several times. Everybody talks about Shirley Muldowney, but let me tell you, my mom was my dad's crew chief, and the altar that he had. She drove a front motor dragster when I was a kid. It was sort of normal for me to have that around. And my dad used to have a couple race cars, and he would put her in it, and just to piss the guys off, instead of him driving it, and she'd go out there and whip them every time. So She's very, very involved in drag racing when I was growing up. She is a big reason that I'm even in the sport. I've always joked that I was conceived in the parking lot of Formosa Dragway at the March meets, which if you do the math, I'm pretty sure that it is correct. I'm sure there's a lot of kids that
there's a rain delay then.
Yeah, there probably was. The Fuel and Gas Championships did rain a lot. You're right, Bob.
What's her first name?
Betty. And she is down there. She was the first one to hug me. She was waiting. She's about 4'3", Portuguese lady. She's great.
Is it B-E-T-T-Y?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then they got you in the go-karts at the Santa Maria Speedway?
Yeah, they took me out to Santa Maria Speed. My dad was, he was a track champion there, and we've got pictures of her driving front-motored cars, dragsters. It was fun.
And then did Alan Johnson make you sweep out his garage when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, I worked out in their barn when Blaine was alive. We used to go work in there when Blaine drove. They didn't have a big shop. They had a barn with a very cold concrete floor in the dead of winter, and we would work out there till 2 or 3 in the morning. And I learned a lot from the Johnsons.
So you said it's like a marriage between you and Tobler. Did you send him roses today?
I did not send him roses. We had something come up in qualifying, and we had a good talk, but it's moments like that where it is like a marriage. You know, I had these little things you got to get through, and sometimes you disagree on things, and it always comes down to the respect that I have for him and how much he teaches me still. As long as I've been doing it, I still feel that way. I felt that way with Ed McCulloch, with Roland Leong, all these legendary crew chiefs I've got to work with, and Ron's the same way. By the way, this is Ron Tobler's 50th win, I think, overall as a crew chief. I'm pretty sure, and that is big. That tells you a lot about who he's worked with, who he's sort of brought up, and that's a lot of wins for a crew chief in funny cars and top fuel.
This is Shawnee J with RPMHD. I'm here speaking with the legendary one and only Ron Cap, who just won his title tonight. How are you feeling today, hon?
Well, legendary. I feel old now. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, legendary, which means that you're going to go on forever and everyone's going to know your name.
I like it. I like it a lot. Can you go on the road and be my agent?
Absolutely. You can hire me today. I have a question about these races. I know it's a lot of stress, and I know you guys go through a lot in order to prepare for these races. In the morning before the races, how are you feeling? What's the momentum like? How's your adrenaline coming into these races today?
It's the adrenaline's high. It really is. And not only do you feel sort of butterflies in your stomach, it's almost like bald eagles are flying around. You really are, you lose, you go home. And it's this kind of sport where you can't make mistakes. It's 0 to 330 miles per hour in less than a quarter mile. So there's a lot going on, and you really have to be on your game, but it's such a team effort. You've got 9 guys on the crew and me as a driver, so they give me a great car, and then I can't mess it up. So they sort of hand it off and say, all right, man, finish your job. So just a great team effort by all my Napa guys.
Absolutely. So how are you feeling about your car? Did you guys do anything different today? Any modifications to tweak and to get you guys across that finish line today?
A lot of tweaking. The crew chief, conditions changed. We had sun, then we had clouds. For us, in our business of NHRA racing, that changes the track temperature. So my crew chief was making changes constantly. And I was just my only change I needed to worry about was whether my helmet had a clear shield or a tinted one, depending on how the sun was. And it was just a good team effort. I did what I thought was a good job in the car, but they gave me a car that I could win in, and the competition was just so tough. So great day.
Absolutely. So winner of the funny car races tonight, do you think this win is going to take you to win this year?
Well, I mean, we're just one step at a time. I mean, it's great to win. This is a historic track and a very, very historic race. And on top of it, it's the 50th birthday of the funny car, 50 years. So there's a lot that this win here brings, and I don't think it's sunk in. It'll sink in the morning, but I don't think it's really sunk in yet.
Wow, you heard it right here from the Winter Circle. Ron Cap talking about his big win. We're so happy for you. Congratulations. Enjoy this winning circle that you're in. I know you're going to celebrate tonight. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.